what impact does it cause to the current IDs that we have? Because apparently it was supposed to be 1 year for these, 10 years for these national IDs that we are currently possessing. So to discuss all this is a person from NIRA, which is the National Identification and Registration Authority, who is Mr. Bahemuka John Toa, and is the Compliance and Enforcement Officer Manager at NIRA. And it is a pleasure to have you here today, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
And good morning, viewers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So starting us off here today, I want you to first give us a hint or a directive, an overview of what it is like, the stand as regards to the national IDs.
Yes, thank you very much once again. The overview about the national ID card as it stands right now is that the cards are valid, and their validity is a matter of law. If we go back to the law that gives the national ID the period for which it is valid, the Registration of Persons Act states that a national identification card shall be valid for such a period as the minister may by statutory instrument prescribe. So previously, the validity period as was prescribed by the then minister was 10 years. So if you calculate back to the first ID card that was issued, it was expected that the period would have expired in 2024. From the first time it was issued, 2014.
Okay.
However, again, by an amendment to that particular regulation, the Minister of Internal Affairs did further extend the validity period of the current national ID card to 11 years. And it was in twofold. One is that cards which were issued in 2014 that initially had a validity period of 10 years, the period was further extended by 1 year, making it a total of 11 years.
Okay.
So meaning persons who hold cards that read expiry date of September 2024, that should be construed to mean that it has been given life by 1 more year. That will be next year, September 2025. Okay. So the card still remains valid, and for all intents and purposes, it continues to have the force of validity as were given by the minister in the statutory instrument that was issued sometime last month.
So talking about the validity of these cards, if I happen to go to Kenya and some officer wants to see my ID and they find it is expired, doesn't it have any impact?
Now, we have made formal communication to various entities that require a person to submit a valid identification document before they receive a service. And all the entities that are mentioned in the Registration of Persons Act who are required to receive a valid identification document, we have informed them of the legal instrument giving that national ID validity up to 11 years. So communication has been made to all those entities, and they are fully aware of this extension and the fact that cards which were initially 10-year valid cards are now 11-year valid cards, and they should be construed that way.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell us about the process of now mass enrollment.
Well, first and foremost, one, it is a mandatory requirement of every citizen to register for national identification. Okay. We'll start from there. So without even going for a mass registration, by law, a citizen is duty bound to register him or herself for national identification. And as such, NIRA at its various offices across the country continue to register people on a continuous basis.
Okay.
However, we also do recognize that for one reason or the other, there are many Ugandans who have not had the opportunity, the chance to have themselves registered for national identification. So the authority, in a bid to have 100% identification of citizens, plans to conduct a mass registration, which was to coincide with the mass renewal of cards. So that then we hit two birds with one stone, as we are renewing many cards which were expected to expire. At the same time, those who had never registered would take the opportunity to register for national identification. So the plan and process is still ongoing from the National Identification Registration Authority. We want to give Ugandans a new experience in service delivery. We have heard the cries of Ugandans where they express frustrations about our services, but behind that implementation of the law of compulsory registration for identification, we heavily rely on ICT. We heavily rely on ICT to help us execute this mandate. So we have been having challenges with the old system, and in the wisdom of the powers that be, we have been privileged to be allowed to get a new system that can meet the current needs of the persons who receive this service. So behind the scenes, there is system development that is going on to give Ugandans a system that can seamlessly make them, without the complications they have been having before, enjoy the services of registration. So the reason as to actually why this extension came about was to allow us complete that process. There are going to be so many upgrades in the system, even in the physical card. There's going to be an upgrade in the security features of the card. So this whole process takes time, and it must be meticulously done because you are developing a system that holds data for millions and millions of Ugandans. So it is not just a system that you can overnight, come up with. We must ensure that it speaks to everything the challenges that we have been facing in the previous system. So the extension has really been given to us to make sure we prepare ourselves very well. We have all the issues that we have not been able to address, have them addressed in the new system, so that then when we roll out the mass registration, the mass renewal, it shall be a similar system. So that is what is up right now. And in the next few months, we shall be giving you regular updates as to where we have reached and when the process will start. So
there's no specific date yet?
That is a preserve of the minister by law to announce when the mass enrollment will start. That is a preserve of the minister, and at the appropriate time, you shall make that communication.
All right. Now, can we talk about some of the features? Because you say it is going to be it is more advanced, I can say. What are some of the features that are going to be on the physical card specifically?
One is that we are going to, we're adding another biometric feature to the card. And also, that is the iris. So we have been receiving complaints from persons, the elderly, or from persons whose fingerprints degenerate over time because of the nature of their work, that they are denied a service because their fingerprints cannot be read. So in the spirit of inclusivity, not leaving everyone behind, because on one hand the card is a mandatory requirement before you receive a service, we have decided to include another biometric feature, that is the iris. Okay. So we shall be having that feature captured, and also the card in itself is made of security features degenerate over time on the card. Okay. So the period of 10 years is a period where most of those features, those security features on the card, there is tactile on that card, that all generate over, and those are features that people use to verify the authenticity of a card. So all this is given to us as an opportunity to have new features, those features that have degenerated on the card, be given new life on the card. But also then, like, you know, even our biometric, our faces change over time. Yeah, you don't look the same way you looked 10 years ago.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so the opportunity is also now to enhance that, to get your latest picture and have it on the card, really, so that then it's valid with your current physical state. Okay. Yes.
And let's talk about a renewal. Can you elaborate now the current status, like about the renewal? What steps do people need to follow when that time comes, or the directives that are going to be shared?
So when the time comes for renewal, of course, two things here. One is that renewal without changing any information. So you'll simply fill in a form, a renewal form. The only information that you will want to have updated majorly is your biometric information. Okay. That is your picture, your face, your fingerprint, and a new feature which shall be picking the iris. However, everything else remains the same. Okay. And I must emphasize, because there are those people who plan, you know, they think to change their names, to change their dates of birth. No. You will still have to follow the legal process and procedures required for you to change or correct information on your National Information Register data. So there is that one green lane for renewal. You are coming in just to get the card without changing any information on it, and in the information in the register. You just fill in it will be a very simple process. You fill in a form. We are planning to also have it done online, where pre-registration, you fill in that information before, and then you just come online, then you come to the nearest parish where the registrations and renewals shall be taking place from, and have your biometrics captured. Okay. However, if you want to correct any information or change particulars on your data, you still have to follow the processes as it stands right now. If you're changing the name, you'll still be required to present a gazette. You'll still be required to present the fees payable for change of name, and then the process shall be, you'll now take that process. If you are trying to correct your date of birth, you'll be required to follow the procedures that we follow right now, where you're supposed to present historical documents that speak to your your correct date of birth, where you'll have to present a CID report investigating, confirming to us that there is no criminal intention in that change, and also a statutory declaration registered by URSB, acknowledge that error you made, and swearing to the truthfulness of the information that you want to give. So the processes for correction and change shall remain, but renewal without any change of information will be as simple as explained earlier.
And if someone lost their card?
Even up to now, if you lose your card, what you require to do is you present, first you're supposed to report that loss to the police. The police will give you a letter, then you bring that letter to NIRA. That letter is valid for within 21 days. You bring that letter to NIRA, you pay a requisite fee of 50,000 shillings in the bank. Okay. Not to anyone else, but to the bank, and it's only 50,000 shillings. No. Fees payable for the loss of a national ID card is only 50,000 shillings, and it's payable in the bank. Payable, and it's money payable to Uganda Revenue Authority. The tax is assessed online, like you know, and then you pay the fees. So it's only 50,000 shillings. So once you get that payment slip and the police letter, you go to any NIRA office, and then your national ID shall be replaced. Okay. Yes, sir.
Let's talk about still under renewing. Are we making considerations now? I see the online provision. Are we looking at also assisting people in rural areas?
Yes.
Now, if someone in a rural area lost their ID right now, what assistance do they get? Do they still have to come to Kololo?
Replacement of a lost ID can be done at any NIRA office across the country. It does not matter whether you registered, say for instance, in Rukunjiri, then you're working in Arua, and your card gets lost in Arua. You can still go to the NIRA office in Arua and have it replaced, as long as you have the police letter and you have evidence of payment of the 50,000.
Is it the same as renewal?
Renewal will be the same. You renew at the near, because the plan is to have the mass renewal shall be done at the parish, because we plan to move to the parishes. So at any parish closer to you, you can be
not where you
registered from. Okay. Any parish where you have been informed that NIRA shall be there on that particular day, please go there and have your national ID renewed.
Yeah. And the process of renewal, after how long will it be? It will also be communicated. If I come for renewal, do I go away with my card, or there will be some stipulated time?
There will be some stipulated time, and it is not instant, because the process of processing that data and printing of the card is centralized. Oh, yes. Yes. So the card is not printed at the station where the renewal takes place, but you shall be informed of the timelines within which to pick your card after the application for renewal has been received by the entity. Yeah.
So how are the masses being sensitized in this regard? Are people ready for the renewal? What is their response?
Yes, and it's a part of the reason as to why we are actually here is to continuously educate the public. We continue engaging the public. We have had several stakeholder engagements with different stakeholders involved. We have had very many media engagements with persons of the media, just to explain this process. And we continue to do that. Like I said, since the mass renewal and enrollment is not happening right now, but we still continue communicate to the public, informing them of the requirements they need, warning them of the do's and don'ts of the process, and also continue telling those who have not registered that you don't have to wait actually for the mass renewal. If you have registered, you can come to NIRA offices today, tomorrow, and next day, because we have the mandate to continuously register. So for those even who have not registered, you don't have to wait for the mass enrollment. Just come walk into an NIRA office, and you'll have your particulars taken, as long as you come with the requirements that we need for registration. Okay. And if I can speak to the requirements that we need, if you're a first timer, if you're a person who's above the age of 18 years old, you'll need to get for us an LC1 recommendation letter speaking majorly to your parents and your indigenous community that you come from. And the indigenous community must be those that are listed in the Constitution of Uganda. And then you have that the LC letter is endorsed by the DISO, DISO or DISO. Attach a photocopy of either parent's national ID. If both parents are deceased, we'll need a photocopy of national ID of your living blood relative, because it will that's evidence of familial relation. You present that to the nearest NIRA office next to you. And I must also say that we don't only register persons who are above 18, we register children for national identification purposes. The only difference is that they don't get a card. A card is only given to persons who attain the age of 18 years, 16 years and above. But for a child, you are given a NIN. And the requirement is very simple. You just need to come with a copy, you must have a copy of your parents' national ID, but the person who's bringing for registration must come with the original card of the original national ID card for purposes of the registration. Okay. But for purposes of a child getting a NIN, you must present a copy of either father or mother's national ID, because it's against them that they get their citizenship status for purposes of the NIN.
So they don't have cards?
They do not have cards from 0 to 15 years. They do not have cards. Cards are from 16 and above.
Okay.
Yes.
And but how do they get registered? Because sometimes you find these kids don't have names, majorly those who are just being born.
Yes. So two things here. One is there is registration for birth.
Oh.
Birth registration.
Okay.
And there is registration for national identification. Now, for children, the law is that upon NIRA registering that birth, NIRA should assign that child a national identification number. So we first register you as a child in the register of birth.
Okay.
Now, we once a parent goes to a hospital or a parent gives birth to a child in the community, they should notify the registration officer within their area about that event of birth. What parents do these days is that they can bring the child to the NIRA registration office. They come with the child with the parents' identification documents, so they will have them registered in the birth register, and also immediately give them register them for national identification. Okay. So it goes hand in hand. Yeah. So they bring the child with the identification documents of the parent, and then they're registered for birth registration, and then registered on the ID system for purposes of the national identification number.
Oh. Yeah. That's interesting, and that is more understandable. Thank you so much. We're still discussing, we're still going on with this discussion. You must know when you will need to renew your national ID, or when you want to get that national ID. If you don't have, I don't know what you're waiting for, but you must run. Make sure you do the registration as early as possible, because it is one of the most important documents you must have as a person or as a citizen of this country. We're going in for a very short break and return with more.
Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
This is Church of Uganda Family TV, enriching lives. Issues at hand, powered by
Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best.
Comfort and luxury at its best. That is Protea Hotel by Marriott in Entebbe. Very wonderful place to go to, just like I always mention. And if you have anything to do with events, they have the best places, best conference rooms in that regard. So here today we're discussing the validity and extension of mass enrollment of the national IDs, of course, which got expired, but of course we got an extension through government of 1 more year, just like you've been hearing through Mr. Bahemuka here, who is here with me, discussing. Of course, he's from NIRA and he is the manager for compliance and enforcement from NIRA there. So I want to ask Mr. John about the renewal still. So what happens during, and by the way, let's first talk about the time factor, the time frame. What time frame will it be given? The renewal process, is it? The renewal process. And if someone does not do the needful in the renewal process, will there be an extension like we've been seeing?
You see, the renewal is a continuous process. Yeah.
Okay.
Because there are some people who got an ID card. They get ID cards on different days and different dates. That means the date yours expires, you know, the same date mine expires.
That's true.
So when mine expires, I must renew. But this one here is special because of the fact that when we started the exercise in 2014, it was a mass exercise.
Yes.
So the expectation is that many cards will be expiring at about the same time. The cards which were issued in 2014, September, October, November, December, because there was that specific exercise which government undertook to have as many persons as possible registered, means that also many cards would expire at about the same time. So an estimate of about 15.8 million cards were expected to expire at about the same period of time. However, we also, after that mass enrollment that time, NIRA began continuous daily registrations.
Okay.
So it's the same thing will happen, same cycle. So that process is mainly to ensure that the pressure at that time of many which expired at the same time, we also prepared on our side to expeditiously have them renewed. But after that, on a continuous basis, we shall be having persons coming to renew their cards. So that in 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, up to date. So it is a continuous process. It's not that it shall start and stop. What only will start and stop is the mass and strategy for renewing those that are expiring at about the same time. That is a strategy for that. But continuously, NIRA shall continue renewing expired cards as and when persons whose cards expired walk into offices or apply for the same.
Okay. How have you made use of technology in this regard? I understand we are in a digital era. We are heading to digital era every single day.
Yes.
Things keep upgrading. How have you made use of technology?
Yes, and like I mentioned before, in execution of this mandate of NIRA, we heavily rely on technology because it's only technology that can help us register and manage, maintain, and operationalize a national identification register of this magnitude. So against this background, it's one of the reasons as why actually the extension was granted, that we upgrade our technology to meet with the times, to meet with the new innovations, to meet with the dynamics that have come up in the last 10 years when we're operating this this system. So one of the things, like mentioned earlier, is that we hope to have online pre-registration, where at the comfort of your convenience you can be able to log in, give your information prior to your physical appearance for further processing of your application. So those are the kind of things that we want to introduce, that would give the citizens or persons who rely on our system comfort in operating or coming for the service. Yeah.
Have you encountered any challenges in this process?
Of course, yes, there are challenges. One is we still have, like I mentioned before, our doors are still open for registration. But there are still Ugandans who do not want to register. Registration by the law is compulsory. It's actually an offense not to register. But we will still have approximately 17.2 who are not registered.
Wow. Does it need
and
more
continuously we have been having exercises, we have been having outreaches, we continuously put these services out there for persons to register. But for one reason or the other, there are those who do not appear.
What punishments are there by law?
Punishment for non-registration, actually, your imprisonment.
Oh.
Yes. Failure to register in itself, under the Restriction of Persons Act, you can be subjected to imprisonment or payment of a fine. But we also acknowledge that we have given people the chance to come and have this, let them come and register.
Willingly.
Willingly, not by compulsion. Because it is for their own benefit, and that government can plan for them better. We are going to a period of voting, that they can exercise their democratic right to choose the leaders that they want. But you can't do that when you're not fully identified. You know, we can plan for schooling better. You can not. So there's so many benefits attendant to this. So for us, the biggest challenge that we have is the persons who are unregistered, who remain unregistered, not being on the register. And until we overcome that, until we attain 100% registration, and registration, we should not only talk of identification, national identification registration, but we also have birth registration. We are obliged to register birth. Immediately it happens. A parent or a person having custody of a child must ensure that the child is registered at birth, immediately upon registration. But we have many who don't do that. We have even further gone ahead to scrap off the fees for birth certification for children who register within the first 6 months of occurrence. And that is really meant to encourage people to register on time, as provided for by law.
Okay.
Death registration, we are required to register a death immediately it occurs. But we still have those people who don't come to register. They only come to register a death when they know there's property somewhere, the deceased died, and they have to go and get letters of administration, you know. But they should develop a culture. So within our mindset, within our of Ugandans, we do not take this registration serious.
Okay.
National ID registration has picked up because for you to get other services, you must, you know. So whether you want it or not, you have to. You have to. You know, you look for a NIRA office to come and register. But that's not only it. You have birth, you have ID, you have death. Yes.
Wow. Speaking of challenges, what are future plans? What future plans do we have? Immediately, about renewal. Could we see something more simple, more easy? Maybe I can sit back at home and do the registration, and then later on maybe go for an appointment. What are the future plans for renewal?
One is we have reviewed the processes for renewal that were there before, particularly the form that was previously required to be filled in for renewal. It had so many fields, but we reviewed them and found some of them redundant because we already have that information. So we have reduced that form to just about a quarter page. Your name, your NIN, your residence, next of kin, and just as simple as that. So you don't have to fill in, people here, we fill in so many forms. So we just reduced that form to pick the most basic information that may enable you apply for the renewal. Secondly, we have scrapped the fee for renewal. Previously, before the law was amended, renewal attracted a fee, but that fee has been scrapped to zero. Renewal shall be free of charge. Then thirdly is we also, by technology, enabling pre-registration. So you go in the new system, you'll be able to go online and pre-apply for renewal. Yeah, that quarter page of information that I told you about, it shall be also online. So you just go and you fill it in at your own comfort, convenience, then you choose the date when you will go to the NIRA office to capture your biometrics. That will shorten the time, the whole process, so that your time at NIRA will be a very short period of time. We know that the long lines and all that will be in our estimation will not be the long lines that you encounter these days. Yeah. So we hope that once we all get these processes up and running, Ugandans shall have a better experience in service delivery.
Wow. I understand time has started zoning us out. Is there any other information someone would want to know about renewing and the mass enrollment that is coming up?
Yes. One is that for you who are not registered, don't even wait for mass renewal. Come, walk into any NIRA office today, tomorrow, or any other day. Come and register for national identification. Don't wait for that period. Don't wait for that time, because our offices are still open. There is still a system that we're using to register people. Come, you will be registered, and even so, it will avoid you will even not go through the whole process where there will be a mass, where all these you're coming for mass enrollment, mass renewal. So you come now. Don't wait for that period. You shall be registered. Then also you who has a card that seems on the face of it has expired. It has not expired. Government has extended the validity period, given it life for 1 more year. That card is still valid. It still works. Thirdly, the NIN is a lifetime number. It is only the card that expires. So meaning, even if that card will expire, you'll continue carrying your NIN, because the card is simply information, that representative information that is sitting on the National Identification Register about yourself. Your lifetime number is your NIN, and even your NIN is accepted to carry transactions. The law says you can either present your NIN or your card, but in the absence of a card, your NIN is still actually it's the most important number that you should have. It is what identifies you as who you are. So take note that NIN shall even be given to you after once you have renewed your card. We're not going to be giving different numbers. So that NIN, you'll hold it until the Lord calls you. So that to me is information that people should take from now. That the card, yes, it is evidence of your registration, but what is critical, what is important is your national identification number.
Okay.
Thank you.
I remember some people were complaining that why are we renewing? Can citizenship expire?
Yeah, citizenship does not expire. Yeah, you are born in Uganda, you are Ugandan by birth, you shall be and ever will you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe something we didn't give much attention is birth registration. Before we wind up, because I see we have some 1 minute, can you briefly talk about the importance of having birth registration? Do even those who maybe, because I understand this registration had not been there years back, do those ones also, can those ones also register?
Birth registration is that once a parent gives birth to a child, you're required by law to register that birth. Immediately it occurs. So to the parents out there, don't wait for a child to reach 16 years old. The legal regime on birth registration is that once the birth has been registered by NIRA, NIRA were required to even assign that child a NIN. So for you as a parent, you are helping that child have legal identity from the time the child is born.
Okay.
His rights are secured. We get even all these problems we are getting right now where people are coming to correct date of birth will be resolved by having timely birth registration, because the record will be there. The record shall be there at NIRA. You not come 30 years, 40 years later and say, my date of birth that I registered at NIRA in 2014 was wrong. The advantage is that we'll have the integrity of your record secured and giving credibility to the National Identification Register, because then the information given at birth is 100% correct. At that point there, your parent who has given birth to you is there, is giving the information. We have given you a NIN, and the child's rights, legal identity is secured.
All right.
So take advantage of birth, and the requirements are very simple, because you just need the national ID of the parent only. Parent, if the parents are unfortunately deceased, the national identification card of a living blood relative. You don't need to go to LC, DISO, GISO for child registration. No. It is just as simple as that.
All right.
Yes.
Very interesting.
And if it is done between the first 6 months, it is free of charge. No money is paid for that.
Okay.
If one is to be given a birth certificate. But for birth registration, in sense, without a certificate, is free of charge.
Okay.
It is only a birth certificate if you now want it, which is optional. If you want to get it, register it for free of charge. Register your child's birth between the first 6 months of the occurrence of the birth.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. So in just a few seconds, can you please give us your last remarks and maybe appreciations?
Yes, thank you, Family TV, for hosting us and for giving us the opportunity to the platform to educate your viewers about this very critical national ID process. It is very important that you register for a national ID now, not tomorrow. Register today. It is compulsory and it is free of charge. And the benefits for you to identify yourself are enormous. Don't wait for that last rush hour where a national ID is required and then you're running around to get the card. It is in those moments that you can easily be exploited because of the desperate nature you'll be in. So come for it now and know that national ID registration is free of charge. Don't wait for the mass enrollment. Come now, because NIRA offices are open to register you on a continuous basis. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bahemuka John from NIRA, for giving us that wonderful information specifically about the national identity cards. One thing maybe he did not want to mention is it is punishable by law if you do not have it. So please make sure you go for registration and do not go that way. So it is important to have that document. You understand right now you cannot go anywhere without a national ID. So it is a very, very important document you must have by yourself. We are powered by Protea Hotel by Marriott in Entebbe. I want to appreciate you for joining us here.